Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and I was always told how to voice radio, so today we're going to be looking at when Plasma Pokemon ruled the format. We did a video like this about SP Pokemon, looking at when they were good and how great they were, etc. That video went down quite well. I got a lot of positive feedback. I suggested doing a Plasma video. Many of you said, you know what, Ross, that does not sound like the worst idea ever. So we're going to be doing one of those about Team Plasma Pokemon. And if anyone's wondering, yes, I did upload this video the other day. The problem is the audio was an absolute mess because I was doing it on a new laptop. So although this is a similar video following the same vague script, it is actually a complete remake, so to speak. So I hope you all enjoy it. Now, we only actually had 3 Plasma sets. We started off with Plasma Storm in February 2013, and then we had Plasma Freeze in May of 2013, and Plasma Blast in August of 2013, and then it was done. 4 years ago, Plasma came into our lives and went away forever. Now, the vast majority, by which I mean all of these cards, are still legal in the expanded Pokemon trading card game format, but unfortunately they're not in standard anymore, and the time really has passed for Plasma. But let's take a look back. So starting off with the Pokemon, we're only focusing on the key Plasma Pokemon. So Pokemon like Magnezone or Klinklang that were really good and Plasma Pokemon, but only played for their ability, or Flareon that was also really good but was played as a general attacker in the same way Vespiquen has been more recently. They're not in this video because Plasma Pokemon, yes, but they weren't really Team Plasma decks, they were just technically Plasma. So starting off in Plasma Storm, we had Giratina. Now, Giratina, for 1 Psychic, 2 Colorless Energy, 50 damage. If the defending Pokemon is affected by a special condition, it actually does 100 damage. This is pretty nice. Remember, there were cards like Colress Machine. Now, this is going to come up a lot, so I might as well mention it now. Colress Machine was an item card that allowed you to grab a Plasma Energy from your deck and attach it to one of your Plasma Pokemon. Energy acceleration from the deck is great. There were people that played this when Plasma Storm came out because most of our main Pokemon came in Plasma Freeze. It was alright, but it was a little bit underpowered. It never saw huge success. It also had Shadow Claw 90 for 4 energy, discard a random card from your opponent's hand. It wasn't particularly great. The other ones we got in Plasma Storm, however, were pretty good. We had Snorlax, who came along and had the ability Block to stop the defending Pokemon retreating, which is quite nice. But more importantly, for 5 energy, you did 30 damage for each Team Plasma Pokemon that you have in play. Now, it could use double Colorless Energy, it could use Colress Machine, it could use Thunderous, as we'll get to in a minute, so even the 5 energy attack cost was not that huge. And this did see quite a lot of play and a fair amount of success, primarily with the other key Pokemon in Plasma Storm, Lugia EX. Now, both these Pokemon really did get better when Thunderous and Deoxys came around. We'll see them in a second. But Lugia's just an inherently good Pokemon. The ability means that you take an extra prize when you KO a Pokemon, and you can do 120 for 4 energy. So if you KO an EX with this, you're taking 3 prizes. So the ideal situation for a Lugia deck was that you KO 2 EXs and just win the game in 2 hits. Now again, it's 4 energy, but you can use double Colorless, you can use Colress Machine, you can use Thunderous. But the key point you need to remember here is that the attack did 120 only if you could discard a Plasma Energy attached to Lugia. So it was a bit of an issue in that if you didn't have a Plasma Energy on Lugia, you couldn't do anything. You really had to be careful about how you used your Plasma Energy here. But the main Pokemon really came around in Plasma Freeze. First of all, we had Thunderous. Thunderous was played here primarily for the attack Raider Knuckle. 30 damage for 1 energy, and you attach an energy card from your discard pile to one of your bench Team Plasma Pokemon. This was amazing, and it says energy card, not basic energy. Double Colorless, Plasma Energy, and the other big one that was played in these decks was Prism Energy. Prism Energy was like Rainbow Energy, except you didn't take a damage counter when you attached it, and it could only be attached to a basic Pokemon. This was super handy. for something like Thunderous, because you could just raid a knuckle for a Prism Energy and then just be attaching wherever you feel like it. It was wonderful. The other card we had that really made these Team Plasma decks viable and came out in Plasma Freeze was Deoxys EX. And here it was really the ability Power Connect. Your Team Plasma Pokemon do an extra 10 damage. Now, we had Muscle Band back then, so if you take a Lugia, pop a Muscle Band and 4 Deoxys down, all of a sudden you're hitting for 180, and you are getting one-hit KOs on EX Pokemon, being able to win the game in just 2 hits. That, ladies and gentlemen, was superb. Also really good for Raid and Knuckle, of course, and literally any other Team Plasma Pokemon. Now, the attack here wasn't to be sniffed at, Helix Force. It was a Psychic and a Colourless Energy, but really it was a Prism and a Colress Machine. 30 damage, and if you've got Team Plasma Energy attached to it, it does 30 more for each energy attached to the defending Pokemon. So if you take something like a Caldeo EX that would just have Blastoise peppering energy down on it before it attacked, you would really take it down. This was a great counter against stuff like Caldeo that used an awful lot of energy. And the last card that we got in Plasma Freeze that was really, really good was Kyurem, who was a single prize Pokemon, not an EX, so in a lot of builds, other than the builds that really focused on Snorlax and Lugia, which really were their own build, Kyurem was the main attacker. Water and a colourless energy, but remember Colress Machine basically makes it a single energy attack. 30 to the active, 30 to one of your opponent's bench. Next turn you add a second water energy, you do 120. But time you build in Muscle Band and Deoxys, that could easily go up to 180. And now we're talking about one-hit KOs on EX Pokemon with a non-EX Pokemon. This really was the core of the deck. Thunderous, Deoxys, Kyurem. Like I say, there were some people that played Lugia Snorlax, and that was my preferred build. But the main build here was Kyurem, Thunderous, Deoxys. Now, Plasma Freeze did give us a couple of other little tech Pokemon. Absol was pretty good, dark and a colourless energy. 20 damage plus 20 more for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Really nice for keeping your opponent's bench in check. And another Pokemon that really liked attaching a whole bunch of energy was Tornadus EX. Now, Windfall for a single energy was quite nice. Shuffle your hand into your deck, then draw 6 cards. But really, it was Jet Blast here. 60 damage plus 30 more for each Plasma Energy attached to this Pokemon. You get 4 Plasma Energy on there, you're hitting 180. And if you can play 4 Colress Machine on turn 1, you could be doing it. Windfall was a really nice attack for if you've got nothing in your hand to give yourself a bit of extra consistency. And some people did play it for that, but Jet Blast could be a really good, powerful attack. And to be honest, it was actually probably played about even for both of those attacks. Now, in Plasma Blast, we really didn't get very much in terms of new Pokemon, but we got Genesect EX. Now, although this was a Plasma Pokemon, it was really played with Virizion primarily. At Worlds 2013, it dominated in the top cut at Worlds. It was by far the best deck, and Andrew Estrada won Worlds with this deck, but it was really Virizion Genesect, it wasn't Plasma. Sorry about that. And the last Pokemon that saw a little bit of play was actually the promo Landorus, which came out as a promo and was very hard to get for a while and was a very in-demand card. Now, it wasn't amazing, but essentially it was just a good, decent fighting type Plasma Pokemon. The best attack being extra sensory, 50 damage if you have the same number of cards in your hand as your opponent. But then, of course, you build in your Muscle Band and your Deoxys. And remember that you're essentially using this to hit for weakness against stuff like Darkrai. And this was a good counter for stuff like Darkrai if you were playing Plasma decks. Now, in terms of the tricks that Plasma decks had, you had Colress Machine. This was the big one. Search your deck for a Plasma Energy, attach it to one of your Plasma Pokemon. This gave these 2 energy Pokemon the speed to compete. Hypnotoxic Laser I don't need to go into in great amounts of detail, because it still gets played a lot. But it's just not in Plasma decks. If you were playing Giratina, this would be how you would get the special conditions on there, but it's just a ridiculously powerful thing, to be perfectly honest. Wasn't any good with Lugia, because then they'd be KO'd by poison, not damage. You wouldn't take the extra prize, but with all the others, it was great. Plasma Energy didn't really do anything in and of itself, but it interacted with other cards. So Plasma Energy could be recovered with Shadow Triad. Plasma Energy activated Genesec's ability to drag a Pokemon off the bench. Plasma Energy attached with Colress Machine. Plasma Energy had to be discarded with Lugia. It was just a colourless energy. But actually, it was so much more than that. We had Frozen City, which was a stadium that was played by some Plasma decks. When this stadium is in play, if a non-Plasma Pokemon has an energy card attached to it, they take 2 damage counters. Quite nice for getting extra damage on the field, especially in a Lugia deck, where you want to bring down their HP as much as possible, because you've got to get a KO with Lugia. Firstly, so you take an extra prize, but secondly, because otherwise you're wasting that Plasma energy. There was Team Plasma Grunt. Discard a Plasma card from your hand, draw 4 cards. It wasn't particularly great. It didn't really see much play. We also had Shadow Triad here. Shadow Triad was really nice because it just allowed you to pick up a Team Plasma card from your discard pile. Now, this could be something like a Plasma Energy in a Lugia deck. Some people used it to reuse Hypnotoxic Laser, but probably the best use for it was recovering G-Booster in a Genesect deck, because of course that was a Team Plasma tool. Pretty good for that, to be honest. Plasma Badge was quite fun. Just a tool that you attach to your Pokemon to make them Plasma type. Now, that was really important for stuff like Snorlax, and the best use I ever saw of this was Tom Hall at One World Championships, who played Snorlax with Eels to accelerate energy, and Team Plasma Badge so that his Eels did extra damage with Team Pact. That, ladies and gentlemen, was an awful lot of fun. We had Team Plasma Ball, which was just amazing. It just allowed you to search for any Team Plasma Pokemon. Now, the only card we've had recently that let you search for any Pokemon was Master Ball, and that was so good it was an A spec. So being able to search for any Team Plasma Pokemon was great. And the final one was Reversal Trigger. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, ladies and gentlemen. Reversal Trigger didn't see a huge amount of play. It was a very, very niche card. But it just meant that if your Pokemon that it was attached to was a Team Plasma Pokemon and got KO'd, then you got to search your deck for any one card and put it into your hand. Some people played it occasionally. It was quite nice, but it was just too unreliable. Hey-ho. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was the Team Plasma Pokemon. Tell me what you think down in the comments. Give me your memories of these. Tell me what you thought about them. Tell me if there were any Plasma builds you had that I have not covered in this video. Go nuts. Be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWossy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus pods, etc., and there will be a new bonus podcast this weekend, in fact, then go and check out patreon.com/PTCGRadio. Oh, and by the way, there's going to be a live stream tomorrow at 8 p.m. That's Thursday, 8 p.m. UK time. Come and join in. It'll be fun. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.